My parents are both musical. My mother is a musician, and my father is a great appreciator of music. So I grew up listening to all different kinds of stuff, but a lot of classic bands like Steely Dan and Earth, Wind and Fire, and groups like that. And then I started taking lessons when I was 4. I'm sorry, when I was 8. I started playing when I was 4, and they started me with lessons when I was about 8. And I discovered the first band that really grabbed me was Rush, and Neil Peart, the drummer from Rush. And that just blew my mind open. I didn't know these things were possible, with drums. The next band I discovered was Led Zeppelin. John Bonham, obviously, a classic guy. So I had these two sides. I had the very technical prog rock kind of Rush thing, and then the more kind of, laid back, intuitive sort of feel from John Bonham. And then from there got into like big bands type things, Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, people like that, Fusion, Billy Cobham, people like that. And then we get into, James Brown, what's his name? Stubblefield. I can't remember his first name. And then even going into things, I started to branch off into world music. Different, like African tribal music is amazing. Indian tabla music, completely different discipline, but the rhythms from that, I try to let everything influence me if I can. So I just try to soak up as much as I can. And it's a lifelong process. I'll continue to learn. It's not the first time. First time through, we just do 2 times, and then it goes into the solo. I feel that we're living in a golden age of music right now, where you can go on the internet and access music from every corner of the world, which that wasn't possible 20 years ago. So it's a really exciting time, I think. Oh yeah, absolutely. I grew up listening to more Deep Purple than Rainbow, but all of that stuff is so classic. And those drummers, Cozy Powell, Ian Pace, they're monsters at drumming. So of course, I grew up listening to these guys and being influenced by them. Yes, it's 100% different. It couldn't be more different, in fact. Blackmore's Night, of course, it's a longer set, but the music style is totally different. I would say Rainbow is a much higher energy level, particularly for me, what I have to do. It's much more athletic, I would say. Even though it's a shorter set, it's very intense. I think it would be typically, but I'm really used to playing with him, obviously, from being in Blackmore's Night. So I'm kind of expecting things like that to happen. So I'm always watching him to see what he's going to do next. In my life, that's been really important to me, to look around, see what's happening on stage, and especially if there's a band leader, like in Ritchie's case, somebody's kind of directing what's going on, to pay attention to what he's doing, and over time get to learn how they move, how they operate, the types of things that they would do, so that there aren't as many surprises. Yeah, I love it. I love it. A lot of people say, isn't that scary getting out there in front of, that many people? Isn't that like intimidating? But I find that the opposite is kind of true. Like the bigger the crowd, they're giving you so much more energy of their own onto the stage, and you can really feel it. So, playing to a bigger crowd just it's more exciting, I think. Good question. Good question. If it were up to me, there would be a CD and a tour, and we would continue. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what Ritchie wants to do.